Good one.
And we should be live.
My blocking was not quite right. Let me get my mark here.
Right. Yeah. All right. Redirecting to YouTube.
Redirecting to YouTube. Everybody's looking for the YouTube is where we're gathering to have some fun on Sunday night. We're gonna watch some P1P. Join us, won't you gather with me? And then we'll see our friends and have some fun playing games till the end of time, which is probably in like mid-December. Mid-December.
Yeah.
Mid-December, I'm giving
Sounds
it
about
to.
right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Hello and welcome to episode 713 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, July 7th, 2020. I'm your host, Chris Johnston, and with me from Canada is Mr. Greg Seward.
Good evening.
And joining me from the great state of Washington is Mr. Phil Theobald.
Hello.
Hi there.
How's it going, guys?
It's going good. 4th of July just happened.
Here,
down
what's
here in
that
the
signify?
States. Independence
What
Day.
indeed?
You just
Independence Day.
you celebrate Canada Day for like 4 days straight down there. Is that what's going on?
Basically, sure.
Oh boy.
I will tell you though. So
What's that?
I have moved around the country several times.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of different July 4ths in a lot of different areos of the country.
CJ's seen some stuff.
I feel a song coming on. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies.
I mean, so last night, all of yesterday, in fact,
Patriotism swells in the heart of the American bear. Go ahead.
Fireworks going off all day
Constantly,
long
I hear.
from 9 a.m. till well after midnight.
Yeah, we did
But
have a lot of.
In addition, something that I've never seen or heard happen.
A lot of people yelling white power. Hate to see it, but here we are.
That probably happened a lot too. But
Yeah.
So between 8 p.m. and like midnight, constant firework sounds. Constant.
Oh, really?
Like M80s just like going off like for a solid 4-hour block.
You Americans like your fireworks. I'm just
like, I have never had that happen any other place that I've lived. I've never had fireworks going off. Like,
Not in. Well, you were in what, Austin, right? In Texas?
No, I lived in Houston.
You were in Houston.
But
That's
still,
right.
Atlanta, Chicago.
You didn't experience something like that while you lived
California.
in Texas?
No.
But he was in
That's
Houston.
wild.
He was in a city. He was in a city. Now, because you're in. I mean, certainly not rural.
I'm in the boonies.
But you are certainly
further out than you.
You're certainly a bit further away from the city than I am.
That's true.
Yeah. So I did get some fireworks and stuff going off, but not the constant barrage.
Berserker barrage.
It was amazing.
Birthday cake barrage.
Did you just say birthday cake barrage?
That's what Wolverine says, right? In that game.
No.
Birthday
not at
cake barrage. I'm pretty sure it is. I've played that game.
See, okay.
Yeah.
See, because there's a race every year in Oxford, Maine, called the Oxford 250, which for years, I don't know if it is anymore, but for years and years was the richest short track race in like North America. So you get like 50 or 60 cars show up, try to qualify for this race. And we used to go down when I was a kid. My uncle was still racing. We used to go down every year. He competed a couple of times, but we would just go down to watch. And one of the things that would happen is, I think the night before or the night after the race, they would shoot off fireworks from the infield of this little short track, so like a half-mile short track.
Okay.
And I remember when I was a kid, because
real quick.
Mhm.
So you said is this 250? So is it like 250 laps kind of thing?
Yes, 250
Okay, so it's a circular
yeah, it's
track.
a little short track.
Oval.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, an oval. Anyway, I just remember like when they would shoot these things off, because we had fireworks here for different events, but they were okay. They were pretty good actually, but nothing like what we would see when we went to the United States.
Well, yeah.
Like it just, and
Right.
I remember like they would set these things off and car alarms would be going off. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And I remember my dad just saying, like, I would say, like, because I'm sitting there and I'm really little, so I'm sitting there like with my hands over my ears at one point, and saying like, "Dad, why are you so loud? Like, why?" And it would just go on and on and on.
Right.
It was fun to
Imagine
watch.
that for
like days straight. That's
hours.
what I was saying. My dad's only response was always like, "The Americans love their fireworks."
Apparently they do.
A young Canadian boy startled when he hears so much freedom.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Freedom in every explosion.
I'll tell you what. When I was growing up, out in the Chicago suburbs, the mean
It was more people
streets.
firing guns into the sky, wasn't it?
No, we weren't that quite south. I mean, I was.
That
I
happens in the
remember
South a lot.
I remember there was an art director. The art director on Expert Gamer when I started there. What was his name? Anyway, he used to talk about going out and firing his gun into the air on the 4th of July.
Where did he live?
In Chicago.
That's
weird.
yeah. Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Well, Chicagoland.
Right.
Chicagoland.
Yeah. No, we didn't.
It was blank. I think it was a blank. I'm sure he wasn't firing a bullet into the air, but you never know.
That's a big question
God
mark.
Bless America.
That's a big question mark.
You never know.
But we would.
One of my cats anyway was crazy scared the whole
last night.
Why? I wonder why.
The whole day.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was a kid, fireworks. Well, I'm sure this is the when I was a kid modifier does not go to this sentence, but fireworks, at least in Illinois, are illegal.
Yeah.
Did it matter?
I don't know what's it mattered in the sense that you couldn't buy them.
I was going to say, like,
Right.
it seems to me the way a lot of people get around that is they're illegal to buy in some states, but you just go to the next, like, I think North Carolina,
state
people
over.
just go down to South Carolina.
You go
Well,
to Indiana.
That's the
buy a
thing.
bunch of
Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana.
Fireworks were legal to sell,
You
and
cross the border and then see billboards.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you would.
Fireworks next stop.
Well, and it was the
you
same
s-
thing when we went down to Maine from Canada, because it used to be illegal to buy them, I think, all across Canada, but definitely
Yeah.
Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. And you go to Maine,
Yeah.
and it was pretty quick that you'd start seeing fireworks signs.
Oh yeah. So every year, right around June or so, my dad would load me and my sister up in the car, and usually one of my friends would tag along as well. Jim,
Yeah.
CJ,
Okay.
you know Jim.
I know Jim. Yeah.
So yeah, we would drive over to Indiana, which was an hour away,
Yeah. An hour and a half.
thereabouts. Yeah, not too
Ish.
far.
Yeah.
So we'd go over and we'd load up the truck
With fireworks.
with fireworks
come back.
aplenty, and then come back, and then we would shoot them off, and then
Jim lost
again
a
when
hand.
when I was a younger kid, we never had any accidents, thankfully. I was always too cowardly to go anywhere near them.
That's
so
me
that
as well.
I
that
don't
kept
blame
me
you.
safe.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, and this has changed just because new housing developments and stuff moved in. But when I was a kid, our house, we had our backyard, and then there was a bit of a hill, not a maybe a 5-6 foot hill that then opened up into just a giant empty field that I don't know who owned it. There was
That's
never
nothing
anything
but a crater now.
yeah, essentially, yes. I mean, there was nothing growing in it. It wasn't like a farmland or anything, but it was just a big empty field. And then off in the distance there were some woods, and there was like a pond back there and stuff. But so we had this big open field. And so my dad would take the fireworks out into the middle of the field and shoot them off. And it was always very impressive. And he would take a couple giant buckets of water
Oh,
just in case.
just in case.
Just in case. And I believe they only had to be used once. The big buckets of water had to be used 1 year.
Was it to douse your father?
No accidents, no injuries,
No
no
accidents.
no
Okay.
injuries, no maimings, nothing. We got off very lucky. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, this is not fireworks related, but this is quarantine related.
Mm.
I don't know if you saw on the Twitter, I cut my hair.
I saw that.
I cut my hair here for all you YouTubers.
Oh
Yeah,
man!
look at that.
Look at that.
See a whole
Wow.
lot of my
that.
son would say you have a 12 head.
Yeah. Well, no, my forehead
Wow.
has been in a harsh retreat since high
Yeah.
school, and
Yes.
it pretty much moved back to about the the head
I don't know.
phone line.
So
Yeah.
has mine, and I would say your hairline is an underachiever because
Yeah.
mine escaped 15 years ago.
But for as little as I've had up front, again, you know, for the past 20, 25 years, the back and sides has not given up the fight. So
Full, luscious.
yeah, so it was
The problem with
thick.
that is,
Yeah.
because if I was to let the sides and back grow,
right.
it would be pretty thick.
Uh-huh.
But see, when you got nothing going on up top,
Right,
you
right,
kind
right.
of got a Bozo the Clown thing happening.
Yeah, yeah.
If you let that go
Right.
too full.
Well, and
Yeah,
that's where it was getting,
cookie, not
oh,
Bozo.
Cookie the Clown.
That's a reference I don't understand.
Ah.
Chicago.
How about Wizzo, the world's wackiest wizard? Huh? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, CJ understands.
I know what you mean.
CJ knows.
We got a laugh out of 2 other listeners, I'm sure. At least 2.
Your mom's?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I bet Mr. Nelson knows about the
It certainly does.
but that just sounds like a crazy person when I use it out of context like that.
It does.
Man,
It
Probably
over
sounds
there.
like a crazy person used in context too.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Man, the Bozo show, the Chicagoland Bozo show was so good. And again,
Yeah.
we're drifting topics. I was a faithful watcher of the Bozo show, like
Me too.
well past the age where I should be watching the Bozo show, because it got to a
Oh,
point
okay.
like I was watching it like all through junior high and a bit into high school.
Really? Oh,
Oh,
that
absolutely.
stopped
Well, because
well before then.
and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the fellows' names who played Bozo and Cookie. I want to say Roy Brown was Cookie, and I forget who was playing Bozo at that point. And I may be wrong about Roy Brown, but those 2 guys, they were legitimately funny guys, and they were pretty, you know, good at improv and stuff, and you could tell they were just like ad-libbing half the stuff that they were doing.
Great.
And yeah, and they were clearly just ad-libbing and just having fun, and just like, yeah, they were actually really funny guys. So I was watching that show for a while. My point is, I got sick of
Quarantine.
my quarantine hair, because it was starting to do that thing, yeah, like Greg's saying, where it was starting to curl up on the sides.
Yeah.
I'm getting
You know?
that now too. I gotta get another haircut. Gotta get it
And
trimmed.
yeah, and I was just like, because you know, I don't know how to cut my hair. Dana doesn't know how to cut hair.
Yeah.
So I have a hair / beard trimmer.
Okay. You just let the beard trimmer do its thing.
Well, what I did is I swapped out the head, the razor blade,
I
because
can't believe this is what we're spending our time talking about.
because it came with
but
a wide head, and I put the comb on, and I just stood in the tub and just was like, let's see what happens. And I just started going at the back of my head, and just clumps are falling off. And I finally called Dana, and I was like, what does this look like back there? She's like, well, not great. Not great. It looks like someone blindly shaving the back of your head.
You're like,
Which is what
success,
everyone's
which is
quarantine
exactly
haircut
what it
really
was, yeah.
looks like. So it's fine.
So
We're all in
she-
this together.
she helped me even it out a bit. So we're doing okay. For those not watching the video, I look kind of like my hair kind of looks like modern day Michael Keaton, but not quite
Okay.
as handsome.
Okay.
You know,
yeah, okay.
if
go with
modern day Michael Keaton was fatter and uglier, this is what you're looking at now.
There you go.
So
All right.
there it is.
Let's talk about video games.
Welcome
What
to
do you
the
think?
show.
It's this or Last of Us. You know, this is what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, we got more Last of Us talk coming.
More Last of Us talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did we say we were going to talk up to?
Well, it's kind of a spoiler.
Yeah,
Oh.
let's not say now.
Yeah,
Let's say
not
that
say
when
now.
we're ready to
Yeah, it's
talk
kind of a
There's
about
going to be
spoiler.
some more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be at the end
yeah.
of the show, though. Again,
Yeah.
End
we'll
of the
do
show.
news and tweets first, and then
and I guess we could say this, because I asked you about this earlier in the week, CJ. We are going to
Yeah.
compile all of our Last of Us discussion
Mhm.
and make
do a
kind of a
supercut.
make a supercut kind of bonus episode.
Yeah.
spoiler
People can-
cast.
By
Listen to-
we mean
Oh, absolutely. We mean CJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be cutting all that stuff together,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to listen to it as a separate episode in case you're still working your way through The Last of Us. So
Yeah.
that's good. We did that. We did a spoiler cast for the first game, and we're doing it again for the second game.
Yeah, we're just doing it in parts,
Different
and then we'll
parts,
release
yeah.
it all together. Yeah.
Indeed. It'll probably be really long since we've been talking
Oh, yeah,
Last of Us for
absolutely.
long chunks.
That is true.
Anyway,
it's a long game.
it is. It's true. So Andy McNamara,
Yes.
Game Informer editor for many years, 29 years.
Editor-in-chief.
Editor-in-chief.
Yeah.
He's
29
worked
years
there
at
for
the
29
same
years.
place.
Yes.
Like-
is leaving Game Informer.
Name someone else in the video game industry.
Hey, you know
who's
what?
been in the same position for that long.
Name someone else our age outside the video game industry that's
Well,
been in the same position that long.
touche.
That doesn't happen.
Touche.
That's very true.
Unless you're
Very
like
true.
a doctor or a lawyer.
Mhm.
29 years at Game Informer. He's leaving his post, moving to Los Angeles,
Yep.
and is going to. He's leaving game journalism, but not the industry. He's
Not the
going to
game
be
industry,
working on
yeah.
something new. So that's cool.
So the
Different.
big move from Minnesota. I'm assuming he lives in Minnesota, right? Or
Yes,
thereabouts.
Yep.
To LA.
Yeah.
real-
That's it.
Andy,
Exciting.
I made a move similar. We all made a similar move years ago. Gonna say not worth it. Turn back.
Oh, well, there you go. Take Greg's advice, Andy.
There you go. Go back to the safe
Greg Stewart
haven
says
of
big
video
mistake.
game magazine journalism. It's the safe haven.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away
Yeah.
anytime soon.
I mean, I meant the area, not so much the.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, not
Boy,
the West
I wouldn't
Coast.
want to.
The West Coast.
I'm sure we have people living in LA, but boy, like listeners living in LA, but I would not want to live in LA.
I wouldn't either.
I would
No.
absolutely not
No.
want to live in
Even
LA.
when visiting LA.
I
I'm
like
sorry.
visiting LA.
I don't.
I'm
I'm in Greg's camp with that.
Okay.
I'm
just
sorry, LA
Yeah.
denizens, fans of LA.
Yeah.
You know,
But so we worked at
Randy Newman
Ziff
may have been
Davis.
right about short people having no reason to live, but he was dead wrong about loving LA. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
Randy
We worked at
Newman's
Ziff Davis
50-50,
during
huh?
the
5 people got that
90s,
reference.
early 2000s, and Andy McNamara, of course,
Was
know.
already a 10-year veteran.
was already a 10-year vet
Yeah.
by the time we were all working there.
Yep.
But just a genuinely nice guy who attracted he employed other nice, like
No.
genuine people.
That was the
Yeah.
thing in
At
his
Game
goodbye letter. It really hit me, like the fact that he's been there forever.
Mhm.
But a
Like-
lot of the staff at Game Informer
Well-
were there for a long
Well,
time.
Game Informer's new EIC is Andrew Reiner,
Reiner,
He's also
yeah.
been there forever.
who's been there forever. Also,
Right.
also a nice guy. Also, you know,
Also a super nice guy. Yeah.
I've only
And,
talked to Reiner maybe a couple, 2-3 times, but yeah, he's a really nice
There's
guy.
another
Super
guy he
nice.
mentioned in his goodbye letter. What's his name? Lindsay.
I don't know.
Anyway,
No, you're
somebody
talking
who
about
started
Lindsay.
around the same time I did,
Yeah.
and is still there, and that's 20
wow.
years. Like, you know,
okay.
it's just people.
Yeah.
There's some people there that have been there, and not even bouncing around from magazine to magazine. You know, there are people who've been in the games industry, the games media for a long time, but not
Right.
at the same place.
Well, it's
Right.
that Midwestern cost of living, really.
Yeah,
that,
really.
Yeah.
keeps that
Yeah.
going. But then I guess 2 other Game Informer editors were also leaving, Leo Vader and Matthew Cato.
Matthew Cato's who I was thinking of. I'm sorry. not
Yeah.
Lindsay. Matthew
Yeah,
Cato.
who
He's been
also
there.
Yeah,
started
yeah.
20 years ago.
He's been there
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
So yeah, Reiner, and I'm not sure who else is left.
Yeah, I don't know.
Game Informer
I don't know.
that we would know anyway.
Right, yeah.
But I also wonder, you know, with the state, everything's in here.
Mhm.
Print video game magazine sold at GameStop exclusively, pretty much.
Right.
Are Game Informer's days numbered?
Yeah.
Well-
I mean, parent company's in rough shape anyway, and then
Yeah.
you throw in the
Yeah.
fact that
Well,
nobody was
yeah,
really out shopping for 3 or 4 months.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It would be a shame.
it would be a shame. For
Hopefully
sure.
that-
They
hopefully
have-
that's
they
not
have
the
gone
case.
on way longer than any other
Yeah.
video game magazines.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It
have
would
in
be
the
a
US.
shame, but good on them for lasting as long as they have, because
Yeah.
I would have
Absolutely.
expected they would have gone down around the same time everyone else seemed to
Right.
be finished. right?
Absolutely. And Matt and Leo are going to MinMax, which is Ben Hansen's thing, former game editor.
Oh, right.
So that's cool for them as well.
And Andy hasn't said what he's doing yet, right?
No.
Okay.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Sure, we'll find out soon enough.
That'll be exciting. Yeah,
it is exciting. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, Andy is
he's good.
Super nice guy. Nice guy.
Super nice. Yeah.
Maybe. Well, he's not the nicest guy in the video game industry because Trickman Terry is the nicest guy in the video game industry.
Yeah, that's very
but
true.
I'd say Andy's probably a close second, right?
Yeah,
he's got to be a close second.
Nice when I met him. When I talked to him.
Exactly. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So best of luck to Andy. That's
absolutely
great.
Best
Good
of luck
on him.
Yes, indeed. So Xbox is holding a Summer Game Fest demo event.
Yeah.
On July 21st for a week. They're going to have more than 60 game demos up on Xbox Live for you to download and play. And apparently some of them aren't like official demos. Like they're like work in progress builds that may even be rougher than your normal demo.
So like somewhere between an alpha and a beta build,
something like that as well. Yeah. So they're saying more than 60, but the final number is going to be between 75 and 100 different demos that you'll be able to download to your system and try. So that's pretty awesome.
Damn,
man.
And I mean, Steam has been doing something very similar to this. Before the summer sale, they did a summer gaming event, and all these events have summer game festival.
Well, it's summertime.
Anyway, I guess it's summertime. Yeah, sure.
It's summertime, and you know
we're all outside enjoying the
gonna do some beachy things. Summertime and loving in the summertime. Summertime and loving, baby, won't you be mine?
But anyway, yeah. So Valve did a similar sort of event on the PC side of things, and I think it was pretty well received.
Oh yeah,
I played a bunch of demos in that, and then Xbox is doing it as well. So that's cool.
Cool.
Excited about that.
I'll download demos.
Absolutely. All right. So Apple reportedly has pulled some of its in development contracts with developers who are working on Apple Arcade games.
Oh.
Yes. The message being that Apple Arcade needs games that have more engagement, more user engagement.
So microtransactions.
I don't know that that's exactly what that means, but it gets into a weird gray area, right? Because if you were to come up to me when I was working on mobile games,
we're talking gray areas.
When I was working on mobile games, if you said to me, okay, we need some engagement mechanics or re-engagement mechanics in these games, what are your ideas? It would probably be what? Timers. Timers number one.
This is the whole reason I don't play mobile games.
Yeah, exactly. Split your game into chapters so people have to come back.
There you go.
Have not only timers but energy mechanics so that people have to come back after 8 hours. I mean, these are the engagement tactics that mobile games use, and a lot of those were pioneered sort of before the whole microtransaction thing started, right? They would have you come back to continue playing because that's what mobile games do. And now a lot of times you can microtransact your way past a lot of that stuff. But if Apple Arcade is going to remain pure, they would probably just have the timers and you can't skip them. Can't pay your way out of it.
I mean, yeah.
Or what happens is you get games that are very quick play, puzzle oriented, like not any sort of deep narrative thing, because those are the games that don't really work on mobile, right?
Yeah, sure. I don't really know anymore. I really don't. Like
I don't know anymore either.
I stopped playing mobile games so long ago.
I barely play mobile games anymore. I really just can't.
And I've always thought that in theory Apple Arcade makes sense. In theory,
yes. It was a great idea.
But I've always thought that you're attempting to, I guess no, I think that they either overestimated the size of the audience that wanted something like that.
Yep.
Or they've underestimated how much people like playing games for free.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them. Why can't it be both of those things?
Why not both?
Why not both? I think it's both of those things, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think there are certain kinds of games that work really well on mobile. But there are also games that don't work on mobile anymore, and that's oftentimes the games that showed up on Apple Arcade, which have come to other platforms and have been, well received there. So, yeah, I think Apple Arcade. If I were in charge of Apple Arcade, here's what I would do.
Oh, here we go.
You know what really grinds CJ's gears?
No, if the idea was we have to sell this subscription service to people who play mobile games, the approach that I would take is probably one that a lot of Twitch Prime offers have taken over the past year, which is, subscribe for $5 a month and you get not only this library of games that don't have microtransactions and they're great, but you also get like a package of soft currency or a package of currency in this other game that you probably do play. And you get that every single month. So it's sort of a recurring thing. So you want to stay subscribed. There's your engagement mechanic right there.
There you go.
That's what I would do. But
so if we see Apple doing that, are you going to go ask for a cut of that or what?
No,
that pie.
But that's what I think they should do if they want to. If they want to keep Apple Arcade going. And that's just what I think mobile gamers are free to play gamers.
Me too.
Honestly. I don't think they're premium gamers. But
if they were in any major way, freemium stuff wouldn't be so prevalent, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Free market, baby.
Free market. Speaking of free market, apparently new video games in the next generation are going to cost $69.99 MSRP. Yeah. NBA 2K21 is the first pre-order that went up with that price, $69.99 US. A $10 jump.
$69.99 US right now.
Let's price it out for Canada.
It's like Canada.
The old, it's over $100.
SNES days
is $94.83. So let's round that to $94.99 because that's what it would be if that was the case.
Yeah.
And then we're going to add 15%, which is the tax I pay. That makes new games $110.
Yeah.
God damn it. Be buying even fewer. That's the magic number. Over 100 is the magic number. And I was talking to CJ's best friend, Mike's best friend, Jim today about that. And I don't care. You talk about inflation and a lot of people bring that up. It's like, well, we technically taking into account inflation, we were paying more for games 30 years ago. I don't care. Right. $100 is the magic number where it's like, now I really have to think about this purchase.
Yeah. You're going to be buying fewer AAA games.
Yeah.
But it does make Game Pass an even better value.
Yeah.
With the first party Microsoft
Sony should really
games.
come up with a service like that.
Although you think also first party Microsoft games are going to be cross-generational as well. They're not going to be $70. Probably. I don't know. But anyway, so this is sort of the first detail of next generation pricing that we've got. I don't know. I probably buy so few AAA games on launch anymore anyway.
Right.
It's probably okay. I don't know.
You know what, though? You look at something like, say, Last of Us 2, you really see the money, right? That game clearly cost
a
fortune to make. So...
But I'm definitely squeezing my entertainment out of that, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
Fine with that. Anyway.
Yes.
Should we talk about what we've been playing?
This has been depressing.
This is...
Well, I don't know. Have you been playing anything besides Last of Us 2?
I played some Ring Fit Adventure.
Because that's finally in stock again now.
So we're gonna hear about you wheezing and collapsing to the floors.
Yes.
Have you had that for a long time?
Oh yeah, no, I've had it. Yeah, I bought it. I bought it when it came out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was reminded of his.
Then he
its
forgot he owned
existence
it.
because people talking about it being back in stock.
What happened? You know, obviously I've been trapped indoors for months,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not.
When you could
Normally you go
playing
for like a
Ring Fit
5K
Adventure.
run every morning.
Yeah, well, that's just it. No, and you know, I'm clearly out of shape.
No,
but
you're in
I'm
a shape,
well,
just like me.
less round is funny. but yeah, I just I've realized that, you know, while I'm certainly out of shape, I've been growing more out of shape just because I've not been getting outside. And I haven't really been gaining weight necessarily. My weight is holding steady, but just
It just lives in different parts of your body now.
Well, you know what happened? You know what happened was recently, like a week or two ago, my work computer stopped working. Okay, I was having some problems with my work computer.
It's ironic.
And well, that's just it. And I contacted my work IT department, and they said, okay, we're gonna have to swap out your machine. We're gonna have to get you a new machine. And I said, that's fine. You know, I live near the office, so
Oh no!
I can
You
come in.
You walked
And-
there.
You walked to the office.
And well, see, the thing is, back when I worked in an office, I would walk to and from work every day, and it's not far. It's like a 20-minute walk.
Yeah,
it's not
sure,
a bad
sure,
walk.
Sure.
You can pretty much see your office building from your
Yeah,
driveway.
and so it's normally not a problem, but boy howdy, let me tell you, I walk there, and we get the computer swapped out, and then I walk home, and by the time I walk home, I'm just like, oh, okay, Daddy's gonna sit down for a few minutes.
My
I was just
Apple
like-
Watch is telling me maybe I should take a break.
My Apple Watch is asking me if I'm still alive. It's already called 911.
Funny that CJ thinks I own an Apple Watch, but
True.
but I was just like, boy, that's probably not good if suddenly a brief walk is getting me winded. So I figured I'd bust out Ring Fit.
Yeah.
And start moving a little more.
Ring Fit's a good time.
Yeah, no, and it is. It's a fun game, and it
Yeah.
actually is a pretty decent workout.
Yeah.
And so I started that up again this week. So
I
Cool.
should start doing that again. I was doing it for a little while there, and then I kind of stopped.
Yeah.
But,
I just need
which
to,
means it's just like every other exercise program I've tried for the last 30 years.
right.
Sure.
I just need to get the blood flowing again,
That's right.
Yeah.
get that so I can walk out and get the mail without collapsing halfway there. Jeez Louise. So although the Ring Fit, you have it comes with the ring,
Yes.
and
Lame.
they got the little soft pads that you can hold on to
Mhm.
make it more comfortable. I have a lot of Dorito dust kind of caked into my rings.
Jesus.
Is that, can you wash
That-
those?
we may
think-
have pinpointed one of your problems.
I think they
May have to get some special wipes. for
Yeah.
that.
Okay, that's probably.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly
Yeah,
the Doritos dust isn't going anywhere. So
Well, in my defense, it's Cool Ranch Dorito dust, which is like the healthy Dorito.
I like how you
So-
held up your hand and there was like a yellow, an orange tint.
Is
to
there?
it slightly
Is there? Where?
on the
Where?
fingertips? That's so good.
I don't. That's got to be a trick of the light.
It's a trick of the light, but
Got to
it's
be a
great.
trick of the light.
I love it.
But yeah,
it's Phil's jaundice.
can't help it.
All right. Well,
That's what I've been playing.
I guess
Maybe
none
a
of
little
us-
more Mr. I've been playing a little more Mr. Driller.
Oh,
Is that
Mr.
what-
Driller. Yeah, yeah,
is that what you want to hear?
yeah. I played a little more Clubhouse games.
Oh, did you? Very
Yeah,
good.
my daughter loves playing Ludo,
Oh, okay. Okay.
which is Sorry or Parcheesi.
Right.
It's just a variant of that, and it's a lot of fun.
Good.
Use the sideways Joy-Cons. My daughter's Switch, it is experiencing Joy-Con drift in a major
Uh-oh.
way.
Oh,
So my daughter and my wife and me are playing Ludo, and my wife wants to switch controllers,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why? I'm like, okay, fine. Here, take this one. And she's like, you got the bad one. I got the one that has drift. So yeah, that was great. Anyway, gonna have to order new Joy-Cons, but they're out of stock everywhere.
Well, you can always try repairing them. I know
always try repairing them.
There are those kind of they add like third-party repair kits or something.
Because the Joy-Cons themselves are just plugged in, right? They're not soldered in or anything like that. Or the sticks themselves.
Yeah,
the whole little unit is just plugged in, I think, with 2 ribbon cables. So
okay,
possible, but
so maybe look into that.
Maybe. Anyway, I guess it's time for tweets.
I suppose it is. Should I do the little tweet song?
Do it.
Okay, then let me
get that Doritos dust out.
La 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 la. Tweet, tweet. He rocks in the treetop all the day long.
Let's do this one from Alias Rambus Dunk, who says, "Why can't all games have the level of options that The Last of Us 2 and Celeste have?"
Probably because of something you did.
Isn't it a good thing to open your game up to the largest possible audience?
Absolutely,
I agree.
The accessibility options in that game are insane,
bonkers. In fact, I turned a new one on this past week.
Oh, did you? What'd you?
The game's pretty much going to play itself for CJ here pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
Wait, if you could do that,
I would totally do that.
Is there an option to turn off the scary stuff?
No.
It's like Grounded.
Actually, I don't know. There might be.
If you're arachnophobic, it'll make the
It's like, because I'll tell you this: whenever I'm playing a game, and right before you start the game, if it brings up the here, turn the slider so that the left symbol is barely visible.
Always make it brighter.
I always it's bumped up a couple. Yeah, a couple more to the right.
Do that?
I know, right?
Who doesn't?
No, I think you're absolutely right. You'd want to open your games up to as big an audience as you can. But we talked about this last week. I think it's all money. It's all money and research.
Well, money and time and
right.
Dev time.
When you've got a company with the resources of a Sony and a Naughty Dog spending the money and resources to
and interest in doing it too, like
Celeste, to do this sort of thing, it's going to trickle down.
Doing it,
it's going to trickle down.
Well, I would imagine there's I have no idea. I may be talking. I am talking completely out of my ass with this, but I don't know how. I mean,
no difference.
Welcome to Player One Podcast.
That was actually the alternate name.
I would imagine that there's probably people you can hire who are kind of experts on accessibility and who can kind of help advise you and guide you. Like, oh yeah, well if I was vision impaired, these are options that would help out, or if I was hearing impaired or whatever.
I'm sure there are, although we haven't run across them because this is something that a lot of the clients that we work with want to do. But a lot of the conversations don't necessarily stop at a lot of this stuff doesn't get implemented because there are a lot of questions that haven't been answered. There's a lot of research that hasn't been done.
Okay.
Right. So. But when like I said, when you've got a company on the scale of like Sony or a Microsoft, which I said last week is so heartening to see these two major players in the games industry so focused on this stuff,
right?
They're going to be answering those questions, and figuring that stuff out, which means that teams that can't afford to hire specialists will still have a bit of a guide.
Yeah,
so I think you will see it start to, like I said, trickle down through the rest of the industry.
Well, and then you have like Microsoft with their
accessibility
customized
amazing accessibility controller. Yes,
fantastic.
Which, by the way, is compatibility is being added to iOS 14 to let you use the accessibility controller that Microsoft makes with iOS devices.
See, like there's a great example. So something that Microsoft did and spent the money on.
Yeah.
Now iOS developers can take advantage of.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Great.
Yeah.
More of that, really cool. Please.
And I swear, I think I saw somewhere, and this was a while ago at this point, I believe, but I think I saw something where, and again, the story may be wrong, but the way I remember the story is that there was a guy who has like a daughter or something, like a young child with some disabilities, and he was able to kind of modify the Xbox controller to work on their Switch.
Yes.
Yep.
Is that, am I remembering that
Yeah,
correctly?
you are correct.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great to see, that kind of get opened up to.
I'm surprised it hasn't, to be honest.
Yeah, to like kind of through official channels where it's, where people
Yeah.
don't have to hack it, where it's just like, hey, now here's an adapter to use this on your Switch or your PlayStation.
Right.
And Microsoft's shown through things like Minecraft, and some of their other, like Cuphead and things like that, like games that they own or have financed, showing up on other consoles.
Yeah,
so,
they're not shy about sharing their toys.
Exactly.
So
that would be pretty cool if you could use the Xbox accessibility controller on the Switch officially.
Well, I mean,
that'd be great.
I play a game pretty regularly on the Switch where I log into my Xbox account and earn Xbox achievements. So
yeah, why not?
Dogs and cats.
It's crazy, isn't it?
What was crazy. I don't know if we ever heard what accessibility options you turned on this week, CJ.
No, you didn't.
Last of Us. What were those?
So it's the automatic resource grabbing and ammo gathering option.
Oh.
So you don't have to press the button to do it. So it automatically just grabs everything. It does not open up drawers, and it won't pick up notes for you.
Okay.
So those you still have to do, but otherwise it picks up. If you need the resource, it'll pick it up automatically, and same with ammo.
Oh, geez, I should turn that on. It's
handy.
I mean, that's just
a time saver.
I didn't really think about accessibility for the lazy.
Exactly.
That.
This is what I'm saying.
This is not bad.
It's a game changer.
Yeah,
no, it's a handy thing to have, because I have missed a few ammo caches.
Yeah.
That have been like just out of sight, but it'll still grab them.
Haven't picked up all the bolts for you.
Pick all that stuff up for me. Yeah, I just have to run around. It's great. Yeah,
man.
All right.
This Last of Us and Ratchet and Clank are two series where you just pick up a bunch of bolts to improve your weapons.
That's true.
So
I like it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Two classic Naughty Dog franchises with a similar bond. Those guys know what they're doing.
Incorrect.
Yeah, they do that. Infamous is another one of their great games, but that one I don't believe has bolt gathering. But you do travel to new locations in a heroic bolt-like fashion.
That's right.
Infamous.
There's a dash move.
Pretty good.
Like bolting.
Yeah. So
bolt forward.
Yeah. Classic.
All right. Let's do this one.
And of course, the classic game, Bolto, where Phil Hartman voiced the loudmouth superhero.
That was Blasto.
I don't think you're correct.
Blasto.
Boy, Sony really bet the farm on that one, didn't they?
That thing was terrible.
Was all over E3 that year. Oh my god.
Yeah, they really.
Do you remember the PlayStation Underground subscription discs that they had? And they had a teaser for Blasto.
Yeah.
It was just the B low crest that
Bolto.
Blasto has on his
right
chest. And then like some Phil Hartman line, I think maybe in it as well. But it was like this big mystery, like, what is Blasto? What's it gonna be? And then it turned out to be
kind of a crappy 3D platformer.
Shitty. Yeah.
Crappy 3D platformer with some really good voiceover work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I could, it's funny, talking about Phil Hartman reminds me, my daughter has discovered all the Studio Ghibli films on Netflix right now.
Some Kiki.
She was watching Kiki the other day, and all I could think of was CJ. I loved you.
Why?
Kiki's delivery service. Drunken CJ.
Accosting poor Kirsten Dunst.
At the GameCube launch party.
Kiki.
I really liked your work in Kiki's delivery service.
Can you say that line about how you want your broom to fly? It was really good.
Oh my god.
That was a fun time.
Yeah, I'm sure she had a great time.
Yeah.
I'm sure she remembers it as fondly as I do.
Yeah. She's listening to this episode right now. Why doesn't Chris ever call me?
don't call anyone anymore. Text them. Who calls? Nobody.
Jeez. All
Anyway,
right.
let's do this one from Hacker Alias Nar Warrior, who says, I've always been fascinated by game guides. Can you explain the process of making one to me as if I were a small child? Did the game devs help at all? How did you know when it was done?
First of all, I just watched.
Desk.
First of all, I watched Galaxy Quest last night, by the way. Speaking of, just the way that question was phrased.
Yeah.
That's an amazing movie, but we can talk about that later.
Put your hand on the desk and grab a hammer.
There you go.
And then just smash your hand with the hammer.
There it is.
That's what it feels like to make a game guide.
Now, let me ask this. Because I know that certainly myself and Greg worked on Expert Gamer, which was Ziff Davis's strategy magazine. Have any of us actually written a full-length strategy guide?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, none of us have.
I worked on like the N64 guide where I did like a big Pilot Wings and Mario 64 strategy thing. And that was sort of full game for Pilot Wings and Mario, I guess. But it wasn't like a standalone
You've
guide.
never done like here's
hundreds of pages,
150 page guide on X.
No.
And I can only speak for myself, but I bet I'm speaking for Greg too, that the reason we haven't written any of those full strategy guides is because we worked on Expert Gamer and we had to write smaller guides. And that made me not ever want to do a full length guide.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. And part of it too was that there's big money in those guides at one point.
Yeah, at one point, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I didn't need it. When there was big money in it, I didn't need it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it wasn't something I ever turned to doing, but there were some people who did a lot of them, like Casey Lowe,
and enjoyed them.
Oh, Casey
enjoyed them.
Yeah, and they were good at it.
Oh yeah,
better than I ever was.
Casey Lowe was a top-notch strategy guide writer.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did several official Nintendo guides, and then also, what was the name of that company that did those?
Versus Books.
Yeah, there you go.
Versus Books.
Versus Books were great.
Those too, and they were great.
Yeah, the Versus Books were really good.
Then I also remember, but I mean, yeah, as far as help from the company, honestly, it depended on the situation because, like, I don't know how Nintendo was, but you know, with the official guides, usually I'm guessing it came with at least a lot of information from the
I would assume if you worked on an official guide, like an official book, like Prima or any of those companies that licensed the artwork and things, that you would actually have like a lot of help and maybe even official maps that you could use.
But then on the flip side, like I remember, what is it, a Final Fantasy VIII guide? I forget. It's somebody we all know who wrote it.
Mark McDonald wrote one.
No, it wasn't him that I'm thinking of, though. There was an unofficial guide.
He did an Pokemon. Well, Mark did an unofficial Pokemon and he did an unofficial Final Fantasy VII.
I think you're right. Yeah.
The one with like that red cover. It was unlicensed.
But there's an unlicensed one for, I think it's 8. And it's somebody else that we know. I can't remember who. I want to say.
Dave Hodgson?
No.
He does a lot of them too.
Maybe. Anyway, there's no pictures in it or anything.
Right.
It's completely unofficial. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
It had to describe how you're going to get this item or do this thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I mean, as far as my experience in Expert Gamer, I mean, it varied. You know, like I did a Tomb Raider. I forget which Chronicles. I think it was Tomb Raider Chronicles.
Yeah.
And it was literally me mapping out every level by hand. Like I had graph paper in front of me, and because those games, she moved basically on a grid system for the most part. You know, not exactly, but it was fairly easy to see and break everything into cubes.
Real quick, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Vestal.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just GameSpot published an unofficial Final Fantasy VIII strategy guide.
There you go.
Weird.
That Andrew Vestal wrote. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, there were times like that where I literally drew maps and then one of our artists made them look better.
Yeah.
And, you know, but then there were times when I can't think of another game, but where you would get stuff like that for print and you just kind of filled in the gaps and put in the words and, you know, so it really in game. Like I did a Crazy Taxi one as well, where I think one of our artists actually drew the city like
wow.
like a theme park map, I think.
Huh.
So it really varied from game. From
Yeah, it was tough too on Expert Gamer because they
such short timelines.
Well, that was the thing. It was like we had a month tops to do it, and I mean, and depending on what games you had, you'd sometimes have to crank out like 2 in a month. I mean, certainly if it was
multi-page,
like if it was like a big like RPG,
well.
that would be like your assignment for the month. But if you had like a couple smaller games, you'd have to do like 2 or so a month, and I mean, it was still an ass load of work. But yeah, it was rough. It was really rough because sometimes there were just stuff you couldn't figure out, and you couldn't always count on the game company getting back to you with how do I solve this puzzle, or where do I find this item?
And there were some companies that were actively against you doing guides.
Yeah, that's also true.
I want to say Square was one of them.
Yeah,
because they were always really weird about.
Yeah, well, they had their
spoilers.
They had the spoilers, but they also had the official
guides
guides they wanted to sell.
So I'm not saying that there was ever any problem. You just weren't going to get any help.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. I remember I did the one guide that I was really proud of was my Dino Crisis 2 guide, which again was one that I mapped out by hand. I sat there drawing it out on notebook paper because it wasn't on like a grid system, so I was just kind of eyeballing it as best I could, and then the art directors would make it look pretty, but it was rough.
I think 2 of the ones that I really enjoyed, and again they didn't come with any help, I think, was Metal Gear Solid on Game Boy.
Okay.
Mark McDonald and I worked on that
together,
and Mario Golf on Game Boy Color.
Oh yeah.
Which
was
the
RPG mode.
Great game. Yeah.
It really was. It really was. I remember I got stuck. I had to write a strategy guide for Simpsons Wrestling on PS1, which
I remember that.
Was
I've forgotten that, but I remember it now.
It's terrible game. Just horribly bad. And it was not a game that warranted a strategy guide, but it was a Simpsons game, and that was
You've pretty much described the Simpsons video games in general.
Yeah, seriously.
Give or take a couple of exceptional ones.
Yeah.
It's not a good game. Doesn't really need to be here.
No.
But it's the Simpsons. So.
Yeah, exactly. And we can put it on the cover, and Simpsons are popular, so it'll sell a few more copies of the magazine.
Yep.
And I remember having so much trouble with that game because that game was so poorly made and just poorly balanced, and there was no strategy. It was all button mashing, so there's no, you couldn't really give strategy. It's like, oh well, when you're facing off against Barney, you'll want to come up and you use grapple holds, because it was just tap buttons. And the only real strategy was play as Flanders, because Flanders had a gimmick, talking about unbalanced. When you got his energy down, instead of knocking him out, there'd be a little animation of him praying, and like a light would shine down on him, and his health would refill. And it wasn't like it completely
good strategy.
His health would completely refill, and it wasn't even like a special move you had to pull off. It was just like you get all your energy back. You have a second health bar. I don't think it may have been a special move. I don't remember, but it was just whenever I would fight the computer, boom. You couldn't ever beat Flanders because he had twice as much health. So that was my biggest strategy, was just play as Flanders. I know you like Bart. I know Bart's the cool dude.
Yeah.
But just suck it up. Play as Flanders. You'll win. Because you have twice as much health as every other opponent. So, yeah. Strategy guides, not a lot of fun. There are people who love doing them.
There are people. Yeah.
I am not one of those people.
Jim Mazurk.
Oh,
he seemed to love doing strategy guides.
He was good at it. Yeah.
He was really good.
He was there. He was there when I got there, and he would just burn through some of the biggest games every month, and he was good at it.
Or Slim Miller. Kenneth
Yeah.
Slim Miller
Sitting there doing fighting game moves
Well, that was like-
and
that was the thing
that
that-
was on his free time. That wasn't even stuff
Yeah.
he was working on.
Well, Slim was because he was such a hardcore fighting game guy and specifically Street Fighter, but he could do incredible. He would write up incredible in-depth fighting game guides, and they would be great. And I remember Dan, our boss, Dan Leahy, he on the occasions when we just didn't have a fighting game to cover and he had to kind of like, it was like pulling teeth getting Slim to write a strategy guide for
Anything else?
anything that was not a fighting game, and he really had to fight with him to get him to do it. But then like Slim's guides would all like they'd always be excellent. Like he would do some guide for another game and he would sit there and complain and moan and whine for a month straight about having to do this guide when he would rather be playing Third Strike. And then he'd finish up the guide and he'd just be like, Slim, this is fantastic. This is a really good guide. And he's just like, yeah, but it sucked. So it's just like, well,
I just remember because we had the 3 magazines in Oak Brook, so we had Expert Gamer and OPM and EGM,
right?
And we were on staggered
yes
releases for the most part. So you didn't normally have, and normally the last week or week and a half would be deadline, so you'd stay late.
Yes,
and do dinners and everything. And I remember being on EGM and us being there late. And if you walk down past the Expert Gamer area at like 10 o'clock at night, Slim sitting there tapping buttons for
Dreamcast fighting
Third
stick.
Strike, and it would be on the Dreamcast fighting stick, and he would just be in practice mode, doing the same moves over and over and over.
Yeah,
and over.
not even playing a match, just trying to perfect his combos for when he actually played.
A machine.
Always there.
Machine.
Yeah. He's good at his fighting games, man.
He was a guest on the show like around episode 100.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. All right. Should we do another tweet or
let's do one more?
Yeah, one more to finish off. A quick one.
A quick one. All right. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Headcase Games, who says, now that they've been around for a bit, what mini console would you be strongly interested to see that hasn't been announced / released of those that would actually be possible? Not something super obscure. Personally, I'd love to see Sega Master System or a Zapper only collection for the NES.
I think a Zapper only collection for the NES would be pretty small.
Yeah.
Here's
could
a
do
secret.
Light gun.
Here's a secret. Light gun games on the NES aren't very good. They're not very good.
There's that.
There's not a lot of them. And it's like Duck Hunt is fun for 3 minutes.
Gumshoe's interesting.
Gumshoe's interesting, not necessarily
Hogan's,
good.
Hogan's Alley's fun.
And isn't that all
for a minute?
Hogan's Alley is fun for about a minute.
Yeah.
Duck Hunt's fun for maybe about 3 minutes.
Then you're done.
I played a lot of Duck Hunt.
Yeah, I know, but would you play a lot of Duck Hunt now?
No.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I really enjoyed Sunsoft's Freedom Force back in the day. But
yeah,
I mean, playing it now, that's going to be fun for, again, 3 minutes, because all that is Hogan's Alley, but the camera I hit the mic. Sorry, Mike.
Again.
Sorry, CJ.
Yeah.
It moves to the right, the camera.
Yeah.
But a Zapper collection sounds cool in theory, but I don't think it'd be very good in practice.
No.
I think Master System wouldn't be bad, is a good one, especially if you could also roll in Game Gear.
True.
You could,
right?
yeah. But they're already doing a Game Gear Mini.
yeah, we got that already.
Yikes.
Maybe a proper Game Gear Mini?
Like, I wonder if they did a Master System Mini, if they would target that towards Europe mostly, and like we'd have to import it or something, because the Master System was
it wouldn't be bad.
Fairly big in
Europe. I wouldn't mind seeing.
What's that?
I mean, I know there's the 2600s out there now that are like the bigger. I wouldn't mind seeing a mini.
Yeah,
for the 2600. That'd be
fun.
Hmm.
Well, not because the ones that are out there now are all by at games, right?
At games.
Yeah.
You mean with good emulation?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And with some modern features like being able to rewind and stuff like that.
Being able to pause on the controller. That'd be a good
save
start.
states.
Yeah.
Pause. Yeah.
I'm still holding out hope for some sort of original Game Boy Mini
Yes.
at some point. And
That's
whether
really the only one I want.
whether
honestly.
it's a dedicated handheld or something you could plug into your TV or both.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Yep.
And we all know that I love the black and white Game Boy stuff. So I'd like to see it focus just on that, like pre Game Boy Color stuff. Just
There's
have
so
it
many
be the
good
black and white.
games. You could
Yeah,
put
there are
so many games on.
I mean, the
a thing
Game
like
Boy
that.
library. There's a lot of garbage.
And with the black and white only screen, your battery life could be really dang good.
Also true. But yeah, there's enough good games on the old black and white system. I think that you could fill out a pretty decent list for a classic system.
You definitely could.
Yeah.
Even just between like Nintendo, Capcom, Konami,
Yeah, seriously.
Hudson, like
yeah. Get your Motocross Maniacs on there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Game Boy would be the only one I want.
I don't know if there's anything else.
And then you kind of get into
see a Saturn, but I think
Saturn or Dreamcast Mini, but
yeah. Once you're kind of getting into the more modern disc-based stuff, gets a little.
I mean, I could see a Dreamcast Mini before Saturn Mini, to be honest.
Yeah, I could too, actually.
Yeah,
I could too. I mean, I'd love to see a Saturn Mini.
Sure.
But what a great way to get Dragoon Saga out there again. You know?
Good point.
And any excuse to get more people playing Guardian Heroes, but
yeah.
But I don't know.
All right.
And I guess doesn't Retrobit, don't they make licensed Saturn controllers at this point?
I think they do.
So I mean, come on, we're like a quarter of the way there.
All right.
Last of Us.
Is this where we cut it off? Spoiler horn.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh wait.
No. Do your Hong Kong, not the slide whistle. Slide whistle.
Honk.
There you go.
There we
slide
go.
whistle sounds weird.
It's not a honk.
What's wrong with the slide whistle?
It's not a honk. It needs
It's
to
a
be
slide
horn.
whistle. That's
I
what's
paid
wrong with it.
$80 for this
Spoiler
thing. I'm going to
horn.
use it.
Hang on.
Spoiler horn, not spoiler whistle.
Give me 1 sec here before we get started. Just be right back.
Oh.
Be interesting for a few minutes.
We haven't been interesting for an hour. What makes you think we're going to start now?
Yeah. What's the deal with that?
Anyway, I've been practicing my slide whistle while Greg's away. Let me just entertain the crowd at home.
Phil, play us a song on your slide whistle. Because it's playing with the levels, it cuts out. Because it's so loud.
You think about that?
It just
Okay,
cuts out
What
the
if I back up?
No, it's not doing it.
Anyway,
Play Yankee Doodle.
I can't play anything.
The
damn
purpose of a slide whistle
I'm sure
is for
there's
sliding, not for whistling a tune.
You know, it's for letting people know you have a boner.
It cuts out every time you do that. That's why you can't do that on
sad.
this.
Oh well.
Can't use the slide whistle.
What are you gonna do? I should dig up my ocarina. I have an ocarina somewhere around here.
I have several ocarinas.
I think I have two.
I have one that's like a clay ocarina that I think is like a Songbird ocarina. In fact,
yeah.
And then, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's not a Songbird ocarina, but it's Zelda themed for sure. I had a plastic one.
Oh, that's the one you got in
while.
Japan, right?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah,
the Don Quixote.
I have two ocarina. They are both from Songbird ocarinas.
Yeah.
And they are wildly different in construction because the original one I bought. I mean, I don't know when Songbird Ocarina started. They may have existed for a long time. But obviously I first started hearing about them when they started producing Zelda stuff. Where'd CJ go? There he is. Okay.
I've always been here.
In my heart. But yeah, I bought Songbird Ocarina back when
Hi.
Back when they first
What are
started
you
doing their
doing?
Zelda stuff. Yeah, what are you doing? It's really throwing me off.
Continue with your story.
And
Come on.
my original Songbird Ocarina, again styled after the Zelda one. It's very kind of, it's very clearly just clay, and we fired it, and it's not really glazed or anything. It's blue, but it looks very handmade. The other one I got from Songbird was
After they got popular.
several years after that, and yeah, when they started like advertising in Nintendo Power and stuff. And that one looks a lot more professionally made because it's all like nice, there's a nice shiny glaze on it and everything.
Yep,
So
yep.
so yeah. But when Songbird Ocarina sold out, man.
And they did.
They used to be about the music.
It used to be cool, man. All right. Spoiler horn. There you go. We're gonna be talking about The Last of Us 2 now.
Where did we finish last week? We've spent so much time worrying about making sure I was caught up to you guys this week.
I know.
Really
We're
don't
gonna
remember where
talk
we stopped.
through day 2, right?
We talked through Seattle day 2.
Seattle day 2.
So
we
now
haven't talked about
Seattle day
anything
2.
past that point.
So we are going to be discussing today. Big spoiler alert. Big spoiler alert.
Yeah, big spoiler alert.
Big spoiler alert. Second playable character. There's a second playable character. If you do not
Joel.
know, well, I guess, yeah, because you play as Joel. There's another playable character. If you don't know about,
if you don't know anything
not
about
Joel, not Ellie,
and if you consider that a spoiler and want to send Phil
Get out
some
of
hate
here.
tweets, get
but
out of here.
we already said we're in the spoiler part of the show.
Yeah, we did say that.
And
We
I'm
did say
I'm
that.
giving them a secondary warning. If you don't know about the other playable character,
Here's the
it's
kind of
Clank.
information you can expect to hear
It's
about. if you
Clank, by the
continue.
way, from Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we're getting into. We're getting into the next playable character.
Next playable character.
Yep.
What happened at the end of day 2?
What happened at the end of day 2?
Refresh my memory.
What did? I will tell you, I've started losing track of in this game. Like it's a long video game, which is fine. I'm still having a lot of fun with it, but I like in terms of discussing it with other people, it's like, okay, where are you? Like previously it was very easy. It was like, okay, I'm in day 1. Okay, the setting just changed. I'm in day 2.
I believe last time we had been to the hospital with Ellie.
Okay.
With Ellie. That was
gone through all that. And then we knew that Abby was hiding out at the aquarium. So that's
right. That's right. Yes. Ellie has learned Joel's secret. And
we found out that she knew about it. Yes.
Yes.
In a flashback.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ellie learned of the Joel's secret in the flashback, and now she's going off to the aquarium to kill Abby, who killed Joel because of Joel throwing that monkey wrench into the cure.
Yeah.
So there we are.
Although we don't know that yet.
Right.
That's what we learn in the section that we're talking about now.
Yeah.
So
all
you really know at this point is Abby is the person, and you played as Abby at the beginning of the game.
Right.
Yes.
You met up with Joel and Tommy.
Yes.
And then she led them back to her friends, and then they murdered Joel. They left Tommy and Ellie alive.
Yes. Yes.
And now we know where she is. She's at the aquarium.
Yes.
Oh my God, we're still in Seattle.
Are we ever?
I don't think we're ever leaving Seattle.
I don't think we're leaving Seattle.
I mean, the setting of this game is Seattle, so get used to it,
or
buddy.
if we leave Seattle, we'll be at the very end of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Is my feeling at this point.
Where we go to the moon, as
well, you
foreshadowed.
You look at the first game, where the first game took place across many different seasons,
and across different states.
And across states. This one is basically taking place over the course of 3 days.
Right.
In one place.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so that's quite a change up, but one that I like, have no problem with.
A surprise
really.
to be sure, but a welcome one.
A welcome one. That's right.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Greg knows what I'm doing there.
I don't.
It's a reference.
Okay. It's not a story the Jedi would tell. Anyway. So we're off to the aquarium. We gotta
Off
go
to the aquarium.
We gotta go kill Abby.
Got to get a boat. Got to get a
Yep.
boat. We're getting
Gotta get a boat.
How do you feel about the boat gameplay?
I really liked it.
It was
I
fine.
thought it was okay.
It was fine. I'm glad it didn't go on for much longer because I think it would have overstayed its welcome.
I agree with you. Although I'm sure there's going to be more boat coming up. They're not going to introduce boat and not have you do it a whole lot, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. They
Possible.
introduced sniping, and I honestly have not been doing a whole lot of sniping.
I've done more of that in the section that we're talking about with the crossbow.
Oh yeah, that's true. I have been
I've
doing
done
a little.
I've done more of that with that.
Yeah, I've been doing a little more crossbowing.
I'll tell you. So, okay. So going back to where we are though. So we're
Yes.
headed to the aquarium.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're with Jesse. Because we're with Jesse. So, and we're on a boat. Although he left.
Yes,
the
Jesse-
second we decided we wanted a boat.
Well, because
He left because he wanted to find Tommy.
Tommy.
yes, yeah, he wanted to find Tommy. Ellie wants to find Abby.
Yeah.
And so they part
Parted
ways.
Ellie's a little. She's pretty laser focused on getting revenge for the whole murder thing.
Yes, it's stuck in her craw, as they say.
Yeah.
But that section, I have to say, I really liked in the mall. So you're in like a half flooded mall. So there's a whole
Mhm.
section of Seattle that's flooded, which is kind of what's been introduced in this part of the game.
Yes.
Yes.
And so you're in a half flooded, destroyed mall. I think you're on the second and third floors.
Yeah.
Because that's where the water's risen to. And you have a bunch of wolves that have a boat. So you need to take them all out. And I actually really liked this section just because I loved the idea of being able to duck under the water when you get seen. and
Yeah,
swim
yeah.
away. And
That was a lot of fun.
It added a lot to it. I don't remember if the first game had anything like that, but I really enjoyed.
Don't think
Yeah.
so because in the
This.
first game you couldn't swim, right? That was the
Yeah, you had to get on the little. You'd find like a pallet or
Right,
something, and Joel
right.
would push you around.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So swimming's all new.
I
Yeah.
forgot about that. You're right.
Which they actually, at one point, I think it's during one of the flashbacks where they make a little joke about that. I don't know if you guys saw
Oh,
that.
do they?
At one
where he pushes
point,
her into the water.
yeah, like Ellie's kind of swimming around, and there's like a pallet kind of washed up on the shore, and you can go over to
Oh,
it,
shit, is there?
and you can, like, if you go over to it, you can kind of like triangle or whatever to activate it, and Ellie will say like, "Hey Joel, you want to give me a ride on this?"
I didn't notice that.
I
yeah,
did not notice that.
Yeah, she'll actually say like, "Hey Joel, you want to give me a ride on this?" And he's just like, "You're too big for that now," or
See,
something like that.
That's funny.
I hate missing that stuff, but at the same time, I love that you to find out that that's a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But
I didn't know that at all.
let me ask you guys a question. Talking about
Sure.
this that mall, because it's because the way this game kind of works is you walk around, you're exploring an area, picking up items and supplies, and then you'll come to an area that is clearly designed to be a gameplay
arena.
environment. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of waist high barricades and a lot of like
A lot of waste time
holes in
covered.
walls that you can duck through to get to new area, to other rooms
Sure.
quickly. It's clearly designed in a way to like, this is an environment you're going to have a gunfight in,
But they don't always do that.
but they don't. Yeah. I mean, it's you can kind of tell when you're about to get into
Sure.
a bunch of enemies are going to start patrolling around. And, a lot of these areas are like that mall, that flooded mall
It's
is
big.
huge. It's
Yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
big, and it is very complicated with all the underwater areas and, collapsed rooms that lead into things, and you can crawl under stuff to sneak into other rooms. And
Yep.
it's clearly designed in such a way that they want you to be moving all around,
Yes.
trying to sneak up behind people. I so
Don't.
often never do. No, I would
Same.
usually. Okay, so it's not just me.
No.
Well, it's really funny that you're bringing this up because actually I was chatting with CJ's best friend Mike's best friend Jim last night about this because he just finished the game, and he was saying the same thing. Now he was playing on normal difficulty. I know where I think I'll play on easy.
Yes.
I'm playing on light.
But he was.
All right.
I think I'm playing on light as well.
Is light the easiest?
No, it's not the easiest. There's a very light.
Okay, yeah. So I'm playing it. Yeah, I'm playing. We're all playing
second,
on light.
whatever the second level is.
Right.
Yeah, but he was playing on the default setting.
Okay.
I think. And he said something very similar. It's like, oh, I have a visitor. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
He was saying something very similar where it's like, I have this fight and I've cleared it out.
Yep.
And there's this massive area that it feels like I should have been using.
I know, right?
Or could have been using.
Well, because I'll find a good kind of area of cover where I can hide.
Yeah.
And I have kind of the visual range so I can see people sneaking up, or I can see where the enemy is, and there's no way they can sneak up on me.
Yes.
And I'll basically just run out, grab someone, kill them, pull their body back or whatever, and then just kind of wait for the next person to walk by.
I do exactly the same thing.
Or maybe I'll throw a brick through a window to get someone's attention to bring them to me.
Yeah.
And then after I've dispatched everyone, suddenly I'm like, okay, now I'm going to look around this area. Yeah. And I always feel a little bad. I was like, man, these level designers spent so much time creating this perfectly crafted, destroyed environment that
there are a lot more areas than just the mall too. Like even around, and I think we talked about this in the Ellie and Joel flashback in the hotel with the big bloater or whatever it was that you fight there. There's a big area there that you can run around in. I only really used the one room and dispatched that guy in the one room.
I ran in circles.
I did the same thing.
I just out in the hall, back into the room, out in the hall, back into the room.
I didn't do that at all.
Oh, really?
I only did like one or two rooms.
There's been 2 times so far that I've used what I feel is the sort of the bulk of the area, and one was this mall fight for the boat.
Yeah.
I was upstairs, I was downstairs, I was underwater, like I was moving around a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's a later fight
though. Is even with all this verticality and the area is really big, I never lost where I was supposed to go. I never felt lost in these environments. I have not yet felt like I don't know where to go.
Right.
Which is kind of a genius design thing.
Because the game is surprisingly good at giving you these kind of big environments, but still kind of subtly pointing you in the right direction. So
or if you wait too long, press L3 and it'll tell you.
Right.
Which I try to avoid, but anyway, there's that, and then there's a later area when you're playing as Abby, which we haven't really gotten to yet.
Spoiler.
There's two apartments that have it looks like one's collapsed onto the other. And I kind of used that whole area after a while, but that was only after the point that I wasn't able to draw in any more of the scars to the area, to the killing field. Like I had taken out about 8 of them.
Is that the one where you have the 2 apartments and there's like kind of there's a gap in between that you have to jump over? Yeah. Because it didn't seem like the scars would move between the 2 buildings, so you kind of did have to go to them.
There were a couple that would.
Okay.
And they would do a circuit, and I was hiding
definitely go floor to floor on one side.
And like I seriously had about 8 bodies there, so the bodies would attract them over, and then I walk around. And, there are 9 bodies there, and the bodies
come over to the killing box. I'm hiding behind the box.
Pop attention to this conspicuous box.
Geez, 7 of my friends are dead over
right
there
next to that waist-high cupboard.
Barry.
I bet I will be the one to get out of this situation. Better go see.
It could be because we're playing on the lower levels, though.
That again, also
I'm
true.
guessing it's more difficult.
I think that is definitely the case.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I have a lot of ammo for a lot of guns that I'm just not even using.
Oh, really? No, I've been using my weapons pretty frequently.
I've been doing the same as well.
I'm really taking advantage of the silencers.
Silencers is great, although I'll oftentimes forget I can only craft 3 of them, so I have 3 shots.
Oh yeah.
Then it'll be loud again.
And I love now with the bow and arrow.
The crossbow is great, especially you get headshots and you can recover your arrow.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why I've been sniping with the crossbow so that I can get that headshot and then get the arrow back.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, then it got to the aquarium. Beautiful spot.
Yeah.
Nice level. I wish we didn't have to walk through it 4 times.
Well, yeah, different
But we
different
have.
directions through.
Yeah,
the
that's
same area.
fun. Different directions. But yeah, so that was a bit of a scene with and the pregnant lady. That was
a bit of a scene. Well, you don't know she's pregnant until after.
Well, we knew she was.
Yeah.
Didn't you know she was?
I didn't realize she was until
I didn't notice.
Talking about that's who Abby and Owen are talking. Abby and Owen are talking about in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, but I didn't notice.
I don't remember that.
I didn't remember that either.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, at the beginning of the game,
they were
honestly,
name checking her and not showing her. Mal, you know the one, the pregnant one. Yeah,
I wasn't treating any of them as like these are characters I'm going to need to remember their names of. As far as I knew, they were just
That's a good point.
These are just goons.
I thought I was going to be playing as them for like 5 minutes and then get back to the real game.
Right. Yeah. So no, I didn't realize she was pregnant till Ellie did.
I remembered Owen and Abby because they were kind of the 2 main characters that we knew.
Right.
And then when you're creeping through the aquarium, which is a beautiful level.
Oh yeah.
And when you're creeping through the aquarium, you can find his pack where, and actually there's some foreshadowing there because you come into that room where the surgery, where there's a surgical table there and there's gauze with blood all over it.
Yeah.
Which is foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
But then when you go into the next room where they've clearly been sleeping, if you go into Owen's pack, you pull out his Firefly dog tag.
Right.
Yes. It says Owen so-and-so. And it's like, that's Owen from the beginning of the game. And I remembered that the whole big thing between him and Abby when they'd gone out and talked is that he told Abby that he'd gotten Mel pregnant and she was upset about it.
Right.
So that's why she went for the walk. Right. Which is how she came across Joel and Tommy.
Yes.
There you go. It all makes sense now.
Guys.
It all makes sense now. The aquarium scene was intense. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Killed that dog.
More characters hitting the body count.
Yeah. And we killed Alice. The dog.
Yes.
The dog.
Who you get to, really feel bad for later.
That's right. Okay. Where does
we found Tommy? Well, we found Tommy at that point.
We found
right?
Tommy.
So Tommy found us.
Tommy and Jesse show up.
So after the shooting, you barely really have time to process that Ellie just shot a pregnant girl, and then Tommy and Jesse roll in. You're like, oh,
what did we miss?
Go.
What did we miss? Yeah, we got to get out of here.
How you doing?
Yeah.
And then
is it bad? Is it bad that I
didn't care
about?
Don't say that. What, didn't care? What?
No. The dog. I know that, like, okay, we shot the dog, and then later on in the game we get the flashback where it's like, oh, we're playing with that dog that you killed. Remember you killed that dog? Now look, we can play
petting him. He's a good boy.
Just like,
who's a good boy? Who's a dead boy?
Yeah, okay.
In the flashback, you even get to the whiteboard, and Mel has drawn a picture of Alice on the whiteboard.
Yeah, and it's just like, I get it.
For God's sake.
Get it.
All right, I killed the stupid dog.
The dog was still trying to kill me. So
exactly.
What am I?
Exactly. Honestly, that didn't hit me though. But yeah, there are people who are upset that the game tries to guilt you for things that you did, and
I'm not upset about it, but I can't. I just don't. I won't feel bad about it, and especially that because that was supposed to have an impact, but already killed like 4 or 5 dogs in the game now.
Well, that's just it.
And that dog doesn't mean anything to me at this point. Yeah, it's going to retroactively, I guess, but like all I know is it's another dog that's attacking me, and I've already had to take out a bunch of those already. So yeah, it's like okay,
it'd be different if you could like throw a steak and have the dog chomp on the steak.
Run faster, boy! It's got a taste for meat now. One of the greatest lines ever in the Simpsons. Got a taste for meat now.
I've been too busy digging through drawers looking for bolts and pills. I didn't find any sausages.
Yeah.
Sausages, sponsored by Sausages.
Sausages.
This sausage link might come in handy later. I better shove that in my backpack.
Well, after the
So, yeah,
apocalypse, only Slim Jims are around now.
So only. Well, they'd be the ones that would last.
They would
They
last.
They were
Just did, yeah.
manufactured
Exactly what I'm
15
saying.
years ago, and
Thing
they're
I
still
grabbed these
exactly
Slim
what
Jims
saying.
now to
Yeah.
quickly open
Snap
them
into
up
it.
before the dog gets here. Art thou bored, Alice? Snap into a Slim Jim and quit trying to kill me. So that's
All right, so you go back to
Find
the
off any
theater.
infected when it works your way through your colon, but
After you meet up with Tommy and Jesse, go back to the theater. That's the
Go
end
back
of
to
day.
the theater.
and
too.
and of course pointing out that you went to the aquarium and Abby's not there.
right.
Yeah,
Yes,
That's who
Abby
we were
is not-
expecting to find,
Yes.
right?
that's right.
But Abby is
Where did she go?
We don't know, but we know where she
Not
ended
yet.
up because she comes and murders Jesse.
Yep.
Comes and murders Jesse.
And boy,
Like, Really good shot.
that was
Very good
quick.
shot.
That was,
That was very quick, and then cut to.
Yeah, and then hard cut.
It's
and it's
like-
like, well, wait.
You
Hey,
really
look,
have
it's
no
Jesse
time to
Abby.
process what just
Jesse-
happened.
Jesse's dead now. Is that what's that? He had looked
Jesse's
like he had a big,
definitely dead.
like he had a big hole in his face.
a big hole in his
There's-
head. Yeah.
There's no question he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be
Jesse,
back in flashback
more
form.
like messy.
Ah,
What?
that's not okay.
I'm supposed to feel bad for the
Tasteless.
dog, not the people.
Tasteless.
Don't.
Tasteless.
Don't try to.
I thought Abby's line was interesting though, where it's such a weird mindset that the character's in though, where she's yelling at Ellie that she
Yeah.
let them live, let her and
Right.
Tommy live, and they wasted it.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, cut to playing as Abby,
Yeah. So
We-
game
we
within a
go
game.
back.
which,
Go
by
back.
the way, so having mostly avoided spoilers
Right.
and not I watched the official trailers and whatnot, which did not hint at this at all.
Mhm.
I did not expect to be playing as Abby for so long. However, when I started unlocking
Upgrades.
skills, it's like,
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'm going to be playing as her for a while, since
Yeah.
the skill tree is completely different.
But I did notice because once you start unlocking like the multiple skill trees, and it's like, yeah, this is going to be a while. But I did notice that it does not seem like while we are certainly playing with her for an extended period of time, it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like it's maybe like half the game, because you are finding
Yeah, she's going
Skill-
up pretty
Stuff.
fast.
Yeah,
you find
it's-
skill up tree books way faster than you
And
do
pills.
with Ellie.
Yeah.
And yeah, you find like, here's a cache with like 70 bolts in it.
Yeah,
You know, so you're
I liked that.
you're able to upgrade a lot faster.
That is
So,
very true. And
yeah.
Abby has very different weapons and
Yes.
explosives to use. So
Well, that's the thing that I
Plays
found.
differently.
That's my big thing too, is because as we're talking about this, we're retreading a lot of
Yeah.
the same areas here, which for better or worse,
on a different
um,
path, but
on a
yes.
different path. But I do like that Abby. Well, somebody said it to me. Actually, plays more like Joel. She's she's built like that. She's the tank. She's big and tough, and
Buff.
and buff. And but I like that even her weapon tree and everything and her weapons, they feel a lot different.
Yeah.
And I'm really appreciative of that. Although it took way too long to get the crossbow, and I was so completely dependent on the bow and arrow playing as Ellie because I was
Yeah.
using it like crazy.
Although I use Molotovs all the time with Ellie, and you have pipe bombs
bombs.
with Abby, and they just don't have the same effect.
It's a fight much later from where we are right now, where you're stuck in a room trying to escape, but you're stuck there, and it's almost like not a gauntlet, but it's just like a
Yes.
wave of enemies, and at one point
Yes.
a bloater drops in.
Oh, yeah.
And I was really out of ammo at this point, and I had
Uh-oh.
pipe bombs, so I didn't even aim. I just threw the pipe bomb. It was just like blink, and it fell to the floor. Nothing happened. It was like,
I also used pipe bombs in that particular fight, and it worked beautifully. saying.
Not for me. It just fell to his feet, and then he charged me.
Although I did die several times in that
Yeah.
fight. We'll get to it.
But anyway, so we're in a flashback with Abby and her dad in a zoo, and going to save a zebra, right? That's apparently just given birth. But then when you go through that whole scene, and then you find out that we're right next to the hospital in Utah, I believe, which is where, of course, Joel rampaged through there to save Ellie at the end of the first game, which I think is really the first time that we've had confirmation that that's the reason why she has murdered Joel.
Yeah,
correct.
At least from the point that we knew she was there.
Well,
right?
we
know
really
she's a firefly, but
we knew she was a firefly, but we didn't know the rationale behind why she was so determined to do it.
Right.
Because she also said the others are going to want to head back if we tell them where we are, right at the beginning of the game. So,
but then Joel killed her father.
Yeah, so then you find out in a subsequent flashback that yes, her father was one of, or if not the doctor,
right?
To work on basically trying to extract
the one who made the decision to kill
Ellie.
Yeah.
It was for the greater good.
Yeah, I mean, he was not evil. It was he was not happy about it, but that's what he felt was right at the time.
And of course, so then you get to another flashback later where you're playing as young Abby again, and she's running down the same hallway that Ellie was in, that we've already played when we found out that Ellie knew that Joel lied to her.
Yes.
She was the only immune person.
Right.
And she bursts into the room, and there's Owen standing over her dead father.
Right.
So it's like, okay, that's why she wanted to kill Joel, but only Joel.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, now we know for sure, obviously, because it kind of felt like they were trying to they were being vague about it, even though we knew they were ex-Fireflies.
Right.
You know, it kind of assumed, well, then they're just getting revenge. But no, she has a very specific reason for the revenge. I also thought it was interesting, and I forget the name of the lady, but the main Firefly contact from the first game.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
I forget her name. You kill her at the end.
Yeah.
But they've kind of retroactively made her a much more sympathetic character from that scene, because she's the one who's arguing that they shouldn't kill Ellie for a cure with Abby's
She doesn't
dad.
argue very hard.
No, but she's pointing out, like, it's the whole, like, if it was your daughter, would you do it?
Right.
And she's the one who says, I have to go tell Joel. So I think, and I don't remember, I think she did tell him. So I think inadvertently she sets off sets him off. Because Abby's father is like, why would you tell him?
Yeah.
Why are we doing that? So
right.
Yeah. So, boy, Abby's buff.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I assume we're going to. I mean, it's obvious. Like, obviously, her father gets killed. She wants revenge, and she toughens up.
Yeah.
Well, is what I'm assuming, or she finds out, she gets intel on where Joel is, and then buffs out, or something.
No, I think it's before that, because then when you go to a different flashback, actually, when they find the, I also, by the way, love that they've really, really played up Abby's fear of heights.
Oh yeah.
Because she mentions it's pretty subtle for a while there, but then when you get to the flashback where she and Owen, who were dating, at the time, and that's actually the whole scene with Abby's dad, where he's talking about, like, I know about you and Owen, and I can tell that you like each other. When they find the aquarium, they're really talking about her trying to overcome her fears. But I think I love the way they've handled it, because even in that scene, when Owen boosts her up through a window because the door's locked, and then she grabs his arm and pulls him up behind her, and he makes a comment, and she's still young at this point. He makes a comment about how strong she is. He points out that I think she did 185 push-ups or something that day. Like, she's clearly already,
so she's
motivated.
training.
Right. But I the more that we're playing, and I know we're jumping around, but the more that we're playing, the more it seems like, and what this is being meant to do is, Abby and Ellie are the same person.
Right.
Except that Abby's motivation to Abby's single-mindedness happened years ago,
Yep.
right? Which
Right.
is why she's so bulked up, and she's and like even in that flashback where she and Owen start to get intimate, she backs off because she's clearly focused only on finding Joel.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
her whole purpose in life, which is why she's such a badass at this point. Whereas Ellie is like, that's the road she's on right now as well, but
she
she's just started.
She just got started. Yeah.
yeah. That's
But I think they're. I mean, it's an.
We're not
interest-
so different, you
it's
and I.
Interesting for sure. I think it also is playing into whether it's the Wolves or Fedra or the Seraphites, that no side, well, each side thinks that they are the side of good,
Right.
but in actual fact,
right.
they all have some serious problems within, and depending on what their affiliation is, they tend to ignore the bad parts, right?
Yes.
Freely. And
Although the more you're learning about the Seraphites, the more you're realizing they're out of their minds.
yes,
There's a bit of that.
but there's a whole segment of game where you have conversations, and maybe you guys aren't there yet exactly, but you have conversations with a character that is devout with the Seraphites and will, tell you a little bit more about that side of things. So are we going to jump into that whole bit, the Paris Games Week?
Well, yeah, I mean, I want to say though that I'm enjoying the stuff with Abby. I want to say the sort of town that they're in the stadium. Man, that was nice. Like
it's cool
really,
looking, right?
It's really
that was
cool
very cool.
looking.
Yeah.
Plus, you meet up with the Vita playing girl again in there.
Again, that's right. You do.
In fact, I've seen her several times at this point.
Oh, really?
And each time she and Nora sort of ground me with where I am in the timeline when I see them, because I'm like, okay, neither one is dead yet.
Right.
So now I know I'm still in day 2.
I did mention this on Twitter, where I am occasionally finding myself getting a little turned around.
I am very
because
turned
of
around.
the flashback. So it's like, so now I am 4 months in the past from the 3 days in the past where I was with Ellie in the main story.
It's like a Tarantino film.
But while I am 4 months in the past from the 3 days in the past, I'm having
in on itself.
a flashback to a few years ago when I was a child, but wait, no, that flashback was just a dream. So I'm still back here in 4 months. It's just, it's all
game
very
is folded in on itself for sure.
Yes.
But like that scene in the stadium, and then you get into the apartments where what's the name of the leader of the Wolves?
Carl.
Isaac, yeah.
When you go in to meet Isaac, and you realize as you're walking through that the apartments aren't where people live, they're actually jails /
torture chambers.
Chambers. Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like, okay, so nobody's fluffy and happy around here at all.
And boy, did you go look in those cages?
Yeah,
I did. Yes.
The one where the lady's mopping up the gigantic pool of blood was a nice touch.
Well, there's that, or there was one where there was like a scar
who wouldn't go near the cage when you walked up,
who was kind of huddled in a corner, and as you walk over, they start to kind of scuttle away from you, just quiet. And I'm just like,
yikes.
And it's like, I guess the whole point of this segment is to try and humanize Abby. And
no. I think it really is that none of these sides are right,
because
despite saying that they are the best, they have some very dark sides.
She has a lot of conversations with her. I can't remember her partner at the beginning, where she's very hardcore. Like, they're wrong, we're right.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're crazy, but then you're walking around, it's like, wow, there's a lot of stuff here.
There's a lot of shit going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
but it was still, I like that they did that, because then you're kind of like, well, you're a bit nuts too.
Yeah.
Really, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's also survival. So what are you gonna do?
All right. But yeah, so then Isaac, because you report in that Owen, because you find out that Owen killed Danny.
Right. Who was another guy at Joel's murder.
Okay.
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah, I was like, clearly this game is assuming that I know who Danny is.
Right.
But I don't, but clearly they care about him, so I'm supposed
Again,
to
I
as well.
kind of extrapolate from it's Owen and Abby you need to know.
Right.
They are, right?
Yes.
And everybody else is kind of like, and then like Mel, again, she's pregnant.
Right.
And they talk about Owen and her together anyway. And you can tell that it seems to be, as a group, they've all shared this experience, and that's kind of where it's all growing from. Like when you're talking to Nora, and she's talking about Danny, and it's
not only shared that experience, but they're all from Salt Lake City. They're all Fireflies.
Right? Yeah, former Fireflies.
Yeah. But Isaac is content to let Owen go off and do whatever. Yeah. He's not concerned about revenge. He's not concerned about revenge.
Not concerned about revenge, but I don't think he's interested at all in helping Owen redeem himself in any way, shape, or form. Right. It seems like he's just left him out there.
Yeah,
whatever happens.
They got their own stuff to worry about. We're content to just let Owen be.
What's her companion's name at the beginning of her? So she decides she's going to go out and find Owen anyway, because she knows he's going to be at the aquarium, which then we walk through the aquarium again. But what's her? I forget her roommate's name.
I don't remember. Manny?
Spanish Manny. I think it's Manny.
Yeah, I think it is.
Did you, when he's helping her sneak away, and you get into this apartment,
the boudoir,
and you go into the bedroom? Did you do that part where there's
I did.
the letter?
Yes.
I don't know if I saw this. What was it?
This was amazing.
It was awesome. So at one point, we're going through this ruined apartment, and there's this door that almost looks like you wouldn't be able to open it because it's right on the edge of a crumbled area of the floor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You open the door, and it's a nice bedroom.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a drawer you can open, and there's a note in it. And you pull it out, and I didn't get to read much of it.
You start reading it and
start to read it, and then suddenly a hand comes in and grabs it from you.
Oh, really?
A love letter to Manny.
What?
Yeah. It's one of his, as Abby calls it, one of his sex dens.
Yeah.
Because his whole thing is that he's, he had the room to himself the night before.
Right,
so he could
right.
get down with some other doctor or something.
Oh, man.
But yeah,
that was a funny
that's
scene.
the whole conversation between them. Then Abby's like, "How many sex dens do you have in this city?" It was a nice touch.
That's funny. I did not see that. That's hilarious.
But you don't get to read the whole thing. Like the interface is exactly the same.
Right.
You only have a few seconds, and then he grabs it from you.
That's
I even hit the square button to read the text.
Yeah.
Well, and it cuts that out.
Oh, really?
No, it's pretty funny.
Oh, man.
It's funny.
That's
but anyway,
good.
yeah. So yeah, and then we get back to, and we find. I mean, the big thing here is finding Owen.
Yeah, gotta find Owen
in his boat.
His boat. Yeah.
And finding out that he did kill Danny.
Yes.
Yeah, and the explanation thereof, and the fact that he wants to go to Santa Barbara.
Yep.
Maybe we'll get to go to Santa Barbara. That'll be the next location change. Santa Barbara.
Earlier, there was in an earlier flashback, you mentioned that there was a rumor that Santa Barbara, the Fireflies are regrouping at Santa Barbara.
Oh, right. Yeah,
that's why he wants to go there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then,
which, by the way, it surprises me in this game how everybody knows everybody by first name. Yeah. There's a scene later where Abby just says, "Hey, I'm Abby. It's Abby." And the guys at the gate just, "Okay,
Abby!
I know who that is."
Yeah. Get in here. Where have you been?
Get in.
Well,
Come on.
I mean, to be fair, I think it's obvious that she's fairly high up the rank because Isaac pulls her and Manny aside and says, "I want you to lead the invasion."
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
they're clearly two of his top soldiers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Although, do you get the idea that Isaac was not happy about their Salt Lake City or their
he proved
Jackson trip?
No, he approved it. That's in one of those in the flashback where she tells Owen that she's heard that Tommy is in Wyoming.
Oh yeah, yeah. She does specifically say Isaac was cool with it.
Yeah, because Owen says Isaac will never go for this, and she says he's already said yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, let's talk about the boat. What happens on the boat?
Okay.
If the boat be a rockin',
on the boat.
So I wasn't expecting that level
although
of.
I think they've done a pretty decent job of building that up. You know, because they've got this
Sure.
sort of, I mean, they've been friends since they were kids. They were romantic at one point, but it seems like it's her single-mindedness that kept it from ever being consummated.
Right.
Which are we going to find out in a flashback what really came between them, or did I just not pay attention to that?
I think it was when they found the aquarium. I think that's when it started.
Yeah.
Because they started to, like, they were starting to kiss there, and it was going to go further. Although one thing he said that I didn't get yet, I don't understand yet, is when she said stop, he was trying to joke around, and at one point he points to his torso, and he says, "Is it this?"
I think he's just making like, what am I, ugly?
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I got out of it.
Is it me? Is the problem just I'm not an attractive fella?
Yeah, I'm not. Maybe I don't have a six pack. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So then that happened.
Yep.
It did happen.
They tore each other's clothes off, and
hardcore bang.
It was funny in our Discord channel before that. I got to that scene. I was chatting with some folks, and I was like, some of these scenes are so well done, just motion captured, that I would want to see the motion capture sequences for these cinematics. And I typed that, and then I got to that scene and was like, oh, I gotta edit that because I'm like, I'm at the boat. I'd really like to see that motion capture.
My big thing, and I was saying this to Mike and Jim today when we were talking about, well, Mike's not playing the game. I was saying it to Jim today, and I realized my reaction to that scene was so ridiculous because
Covering your
so
screen.
for anyone, no. So, I mean, they tear each other's clothes off. Literally, she turns around and he's
he kind of throws her around, right?
Throws her around, and then
it's a little rough. It's a little rough.
And the first thought that entered my mind was, that's graphic.
That's exactly what I thought too.
Wait a minute. I just saw a guy hammer someone's arm.
Yeah.
I'm blowing limbs off with a shotgun.
Exactly.
And my first reaction to this is, that's graphic?
Ew.
That's graphic.
They are intimate with each other. Gross.
That's a bit Cinemax?
That's a bit
Skinemax.
much.
But I laughed at myself immediately after. It's like, what a stupid thing to think in this game.
Couldn't they just be shooting other people in the head? Why do they have to?
Something wholesome.
Yeah.
Why don't they have to do that?
Yeah.
Family values.
Why are they doing this grown-up kissing?
We didn't even talk about the Clipper Wings section though. We totally
yeah.
That's after this.
That's
not,
isn't it?
No, it's not.
Oh shit, you're right.
That's the motion capture stuff CJ wanted to see.
That is actually why I was.
Yeah,
that's why I'd love to say, because
I'd love to see someone get their arms shattered.
So Abby gets caught by the Seraphites, and it's the bit that Sony played as a teaser for this game marketing during Paris Games Week 3 years ago, something like that.
Oh,
and you get to play that sequence out. And I thought, of course, at the time, I thought the violence out of context just didn't make sense as a marketing beat, and I still don't know why they chose that.
It was weird because it was characters that we knew nothing about.
Exactly,
and it's
nothing
just like,
about Abby at that time, or
and it is. It's a shockingly brutal scene, and it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
but without the context of who are these characters, what is the situation it's in, it just felt kind of empty and exploitative.
Really violent.
Yeah. But then you see it, and the motion capture is what I'm interested in seeing of that scene. Where she gets the noose around her neck and is pulled up by it, and it's just so like fluid and graphic. And then also the hammering of the arms of the character whose name I'm forgetting.
Lev is her companion.
Yes.
Lev is the one with the bow and arrow, but I forget her name.
Yeah. But yeah, like how they did that motion capture, because it's just a stunning sequence just in general. But also everything that happens after the chase sequence and in the dark happens with Lev.
So you're running around. These new characters are Scars. who are.
Which we also learned throughout this sequence that they cut themselves. Have you noticed that? They all have the
No.
actual scars. That's what they're called.
I
Scars.
did see that. Yeah.
They
Okay.
mutilate their faces, and there's a reason for that. So we skipped this part a little bit too, but there's Martyr's Gate that we've gone through, which is that shrine.
Right.
Who I believe the woman, and the reason it's Martyr's Gate is it sounds like the wolves actually captured her at one point and killed her.
Yes, they did. Yes.
And made her a martyr. And there's a bunch of, if you look at that shrine, there's a bunch of letters that have been attached to it that you can pull down and read.
Right. Yes, which I did.
And it's either one of those or it's a letter you find in one of the buildings adjacent where they talk about the fact that they're imperfect in her eyes, so they mutilate their faces. So they will be imperfect in her eyes, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you look closely at them, they almost look like what's the term for that? The
Joker.
There's actually a term. There's actually a term for that when you cut people on the cheek.
Really?
It's a Glasgow smile or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, but yeah,
you know that term from your Russian gangster days? Is that
yes,
what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yara.
But
Yara is the name of the girl we're trying to think of.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yara.
So yeah, so that was
that
kind
whole
of
sequence, by the way, in the dark with Yara and Lev.
Intense.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would have been a better teaser than just showing the Clipper wings bit. Like, showing gameplay is always, in my opinion, better than just showing a cinematic out of context from The Last of Us.
Right.
There were two things. So that's a crazy scene because you're running through the woods.
Yeah.
So it's kind of creepy as hell to begin with. And then, of course, you're being chased by infected.
Right.
A lot of them. And you have no weapons. And you have no med kits.
Right.
And I just barely survived that. And then you get down into an area where you fight a boss who has a giant hammer. And you don't have any weapons. And I died there a couple of times. I could not figure out the pattern to avoid her swings. I would avoid the first one, and then I'd always forget to dodge immediately there was a second swing.
You have to dodge 3.
Well, at least on the difficulty we're playing on, I noticed the pattern was first there was one swing, the second attack she'd do 2 swings, and then 3 swings.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then I believe it maxed out at 3 swings. So yeah, you could just bait her in, and she would 1, 2, 3 swings, and then you'd start counter punching her. Yeah.
Okay. It's like Punch Out.
It was exactly like Punch Out.
Totally. Yeah.
This game needs to be more like Punch Out, is what I'm saying.
It is already.
Gabby J. Yay.
Then you get all your stuff back.
You get all your stuff because you had your
She's
pack.
got your backpack.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you work your way through that section where you get stuck in an auto shop while you think they've run away from you.
Yes.
Yara and Lev. And I died there a couple of times too, because I ended up using up all my ammo in that area. And that's where I threw the pipe bomb and nothing happened. I mean, it did explode, but the floater had already run away from it at that point.
I had been killed several times there, and I started running around more in that area and tossing pipe bombs.
Right.
So
and it worked pretty well.
I think the big thing for me was that I didn't. Obviously they come back to save you, and actually right around the time the bloater appears is when they come back.
Yes.
And I had moved so far away from where they were.
Oh,
I didn't know that they were there. So I just kept dying.
Right.
And then I
killed the bloater
because I don't use did you really?
I did.
Oh, see, I didn't kill him.
I think I killed one bloater, and then
are there more?
Another 1 or 2 even come out.
Yikes.
So I think I mean, I don't know for sure, but that might be a case where there's just going to be a never-ending swarm until you
seems like it
get out of there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I didn't know because I don't use closed captions or anything like that for this game either.
Oh yeah, me neither.
So I didn't know anyone was calling to me.
So see, that's the one accessibility thing, and I mean it's a light accessibility feature. I do have the subtitles turned on.
It makes sense because there are conversations that if you're away from the person you're talking to, they continue to talk to you.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should turn that on.
I've had it on for that reason. There's actually been solid chunks of dialogue that show up on the screen.
Yeah.
But
you can't hear.
I can't hear anything because they're because sometimes even like if you're have a companion with you, you'll run off into a room to look for supplies, and they will not follow you.
But they'll keep talking to you.
But they'll keep talking to you like you're right there next to them. So yeah. But
Okay.
so they rescue you, you get out. And then is that when you ditch them?
Yep.
Yeah.
You put them in a trailer, you put a splint on Yara's arm.
Yes.
And then you say good luck.
Yep. Fare thee well.
And I'm gonna go get it on with Owen.
Exactly. And then
I mean, there's a couple more battles on the way there, but actually the ship was really cool. I really like the ship. The beach to
the ship.
Oh yeah.
And that's where you get the crossbow.
That is the crossbow. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I was able to take everybody out stealthily on
yes, I didn't get seen there at all.
Nice. And then we're caught up with the sex scene, and
that's the end of the day.
You wake up
the day.
Day 2, which is where I
nightmare.
stopped.
There's a nightmare too, right?
Doesn't
that's
Abby have a nightmare. That's the nightmare scene, right? Where you're back in the hospital.
Yes.
Right.
And
but
then
when you open the door, it's
you're in
and
the
Lev hanging from a tree.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I've stopped at the beginning of day 2 with Abby. You guys are a bit past that, right?
Yeah, I'm past that.
Okay. Yeah. So
about 20 minutes past that.
Okay,
I guess I'm a lot further past that. I thought we were closer than I thought. Because we sort of judged this as the next day you're going to the hospital or
something. Because this week, a little behind the scenes, Greg had fallen a bit behind us play wise, and CJ and I were kind of trying to figure out where we were.
Yeah, we were.
And I was like, I'm right at the very beginning of day 2, and you had said, CJ, that you had gone potentially a couple hours past that.
Yeah.
And then Greg was kind of just playing catch up to get to day 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you are a bit ahead. I'm still at the part I have to go back because Abby has had her change of heart with what is it, Yara and Lev. Yeah, she's had her. She wakes up and
basically is like, I can't believe I left them.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta go back and get them.
even though they are scars.
Yeah,
and I'm supposed to hate them. Yes, so they're trying to get out of that, and they're being hunted, and the scars are going to find them and kill them if I don't go help. So I need to go and rescue them.
Yeah.
So
that's where we are. So I got to say, in general, though, and I know that we're going through different paths, but I am getting weary because now we're heading back to the hospital again.
Yeah.
I will say I'm getting weary of running through urban
similar areas,
Seattle, over and over again.
Right.
And like even the day that we're stopping at, the first few minutes, which you're about to do, Phil, you're literally going back to the site of your last sort of big fight with infected, and you're going to have another fight right there.
Go figure.
In the exact same area.
Go figure.
And it's like,
but it's not with infected.
No, but still, it's like I kind of. It's starting to get that padded feel.
Yeah.
I disagree. I disagree with that.
Crazy about this.
I mean, I think there is padding, obviously, but
it definitely is.
Small sections like that sort of section you just described. Well, I don't feel like I'm going through exactly the same places. And
you are there.
Did we talk about the Chinatown scene?
That was a cool spot.
Did you go to the Chinese restaurant and laundry and all that?
I did, yes.
Freaked me right out because when you're walking through there, like, so it's in Chinatown, there's like a row of shops on one side.
Yeah.
And then there's just a building on the other side that you can't enter because there's all grating everywhere.
Yeah.
And the first shop is boarded up, but of course you can smash the window. We've all learned by now that you should smash windows.
Of course.
And so I did that. It's like, oh, I'm going to do that. And I had a bottle and I threw the bottle. And as soon as I threw the bottle, there are clickers and infected close enough that they can hear it. And they all jumped. They all like all when I threw the bottle, and it freaked me right out because I'm like, well, I don't see them, but clearly they're close enough to hear that. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I for some reason I did not break that window the first time. Instead, I went up the stairs, crawled through where the clickers were, took those out, and then went over and broke the window. So I was in that area for a little bit. But did you guys grab the artifact that's there?
Oh, is that is a precursor?
Is that the Jack and Daxter reference?
I don't know. Is it?
Well, what is it? What I didn't.
It's
I don't
like a
remember
little
grabbing an
spherical
artifact.
egg.
Yes,
which I assume
that's
is Jack and
precursor.
Daxter.
That's yeah. It's like the precursor orb or something.
I didn't know it
Yeah.
was there, but when we were having lunch today, Jim brought that up. It's like I don't know where it is, but I'm sure there's one in there somewhere. So clearly that's where it was.
Yeah,
Okay,
I did
grab
not
it.
I did not get it. No.
You grab it, look at it briefly, and then an infected like pushes you down. Yeah, there's a fight with that as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah. A similar scene to the finding
I
the
feel
love
we'll be
note.
back. We'll be back through there 3 or 4 more times. So
Yeah,
I'll probably
really.
have a
I
chance to
don't
pick
think
it up.
so, though. No, I
I'm
don't
only
think so.
kidding.
The way that I will say, okay, I'll give you a preview. The way that you go back to the hospital is different than you.
Yeah, they kind of
are
point that out.
expecting.
Okay.
And yeah, I think it's one of the coolest areas in the game.
Okay.
And with a lot of different environmental stuff going on, I think you'll really enjoy it.
Okay then.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll have to jump back in.
I think you definitely should.
Good.
But I think that's where we're going to stop for this week, right?
Yep, that's it for this week.
I think, yeah, that's a good place to stop. Sure.
Well, considering
Why not?
I have not played
Considering
any
Phil
farther
hasn't
than
played any
that,
further than this, it's probably where we need
Why?
to stop.
and
Why
Greg is what,
not?
maybe 20 minutes past me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not much more to say, really, is there?
I guess not.
We've sort of reached the end of our discussion, haven't we?
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have
There
a
it is.
question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you
Good
can
old
direct that to
CJ.
at P1 Podcast. Wow.
Hey,
At
keep going.
P1
You're gonna do it.
Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD from Mr. Greg Stewart.
Eventually.
You'll find Generation 16 episodes, even more.
Spent most of today actually capturing footage for that, doing some photography and video, which was the last bits and pieces I needed to finish the episode.
Cool.
Mm.
So I feel like if I have a good week of editing this week, we're really, really close to the early release.
Cool.
It's going to be awesome.
You'll find show notes and links to everything that we talked about during this episode, and you'll find a link to like Greg Stewart's Twitch streams that he does every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday
Thank you. Yeah.
on Twitch, and you'll
On
find a
Kimmy
link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by loading up your favorite podcast listening application. We're also on Spotify. We're on Stitcher Radio. You can like us on Facebook. You can watch video archives of our show, or watch us live most weeks on the youtubes.com/P1 Podcast. Follow our Twitter account at P1 Podcast to find out when we are doing our next live show. It's probably going to be Sundays at 5:30 specific time.
Possible.
Probable. So please tune in. If you've liked what you've heard, and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1 Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. I don't know. I don't have any clever quip. Sorry.
Wow, that's weird.
Sorry. Come up with your own. CJ will use that money to buy a canister of candy beans,
Okay.
as he is wont to do. So there you go.
I guess.
Your Patreon dollars do, of course, help us keep the lights on here. It helps pay for Zoom and helps all of that little garbage that adds up when you are running a podcast. You know what
True.
it is. I don't mean actual garbage, CJ. I
No,
mean
no,
metaphorical
no.
garbage.
Metaphorical.
In terms of maintaining a properly running independent podcast. Hey, you know what though? Podcast listening friends, if you are a Patreon subscriber of $5, you do gain access to a weekly bonus show, a little after party that we have every week where we play games, we crack wise, we have fun, And we would love for you to join us. If you'd like a sample of what kind of shenanigans we get up to in the after show, CJ, our very own Christopher Johnston himself, has been posting some of our old ones, like from 2 years ago. Ancient history at this point, but still good for a larf on occasion. On Thursday nights, check our feed for some bonus show stuff. I see Finn sneaking in the room here. He is.
Yeah.
Sneaking and peeking. See, I know how this goes. He's going to sneak up behind me. He's going to put a shiv in my throat. I know what this. I know how this works. I've played the video games recently.
Yeah.
So, join us for that, won't you? And hey, if you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com where you'll find the Patreon link to help support Greg Stewart's outstanding, and it is outstanding, web series about North America's favorite runner-up, the Sega Genesis.
Thank you, Philip.
How's that? The new episode's coming along, right?
Yeah, it's getting real close.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. That's it, I believe. CJ.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil.
Gregory.
Yo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Philip.
Don't think I don't see you sneaking in here, Finn. How you doing, buddy? Good.
Yep.
And of course, thank you to all of our wonderful listeners. We love each and every single one of you. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next week for some more Last of Us 2 discussion.
Yes.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Go ahead, Finn. Say goodbye.
Boy.
There it is. Boy.
Sounded like boy.
Yeah.